It's Tuesday, and we leave for No Name Nationals tomorrow. Are we ready? Yeah, I mean, well, you know, we're fairly ready. It's just whip this back together and we'll be good. You might be asking yourself, Dan, what? Your carburetor's in a million pieces on the kitchen table, and not on the car that has to go race, you know, in the next 2 days. And you're leaving tomorrow. What's going on here, right? Well, you know, fancy you ask, because everybody makes mistakes, right? You know, even though we know better, right? Even though we've been through this once before, you know, you think you know, but we had problems. The carburetor is completely packed with schmutz. Now, how did this happen, you might ask? Well, you know, it's kind of my fault, right? I know better. I've had this happen to me before, right? Brand new AN line. Brand new AN line. We just plumbed the new AN, you know, hoses. And I didn't wash them out first. I know, that rookie mistake. I've had this happen to me once before, and I don't know why I didn't. It's because we were on a deadline, okay? I got lazy, and it completely plugged up the carburetor. So I'm tearing it all apart and fixing all of that. Believe it or not, it's actually a good thing. Thank you, air conditioning, for deciding to turn on when, you know, the video did. Get a cough. Anyways, it's actually a good thing, because I've been wanting to take this carburetor off the car for a long time now, right? Because I knew there was some problems with it, you know, because we built this thing. Yeah, it's been a few months ago, hasn't it? Holy buckets, since we finished the project, right? But, you know, I've noticed some things about it, tuning-wise and whatnot, that I really needed to pull the carburetor off and sort through. But I just never did because, well, you know, it's one of those things, right? It worked well enough that I could drive it, so I just did. But now we're racing, and we got to kick LNA's ass. And you know what? We might even call out Daddy's Money Garage. I seen them, you know. I've been watching a few of their videos. They only had like 2 call outs so far, as from what, you know what? Daddy's Money Garage, you're going down town, and I don't know if I even have a chance at hell of beating your car, but you know, it's fun, right? It's fun. Now, let me show you what I'm doing here, because I'm cleaning this up, right? But there's other things I'm doing to it too, and let me show you what some of them are. The metering blocks, right? There's 3 of them here. Carburetor only has 2. What's going on? Okay, this is the original 700 Holley, because that's, well, actually, not even that. That's currently Project XMC up there, the original 700 Holley that these metering blocks came off of. But anyways, this is the original secondary metering block, right? We got this base plate from Clayton's garage, which, thank you, Clayton. Again, much appreciated. And we made this 700 or 750 main body fit it. That was our whole carburetor project. And in doing that, we had to convert from a, see, this didn't have idle adjustments. We needed a 4-corner idle. So we added this, not this one. We added this main primary metering block to our secondary and just plugged off the power valve, right? And we called it a day. Well, we shouldn't have called it a day. Now, if you recall, you might not if you weren't there, but if you recall, we were going to put this on the primary, this on the secondary, but we changed our mind because the power valve circuit was smaller, right? I checked that. I checked these holes, right? Those were the same. For whatever reason, oh, I also checked this stuff, and that stuff was the same, right? But for whatever reason, this hole and that hole must have slipped my mind. Now, what that hole is, it's the idle circuit. It's the main feed from the main well to the idle circuit. So that's where the idle circuit's pulling its fuel from, you know, from the fuel bowl through that passage. And it is significantly choked on this metering block. I cannot believe I did not notice that. But again, another project that, well, I wanted to get it done. Yeah, you know. Oh well. So there's our primary metering block. Then over here is our secondary. Look how it's got that plug in there. And it is quite restricted. So I'm drilling it out. So I got my drill bit and I'm just drilling it out to, approximately that size. I mean, closer is better than further away. It was the closest drill bit size I had. But it's pretty close. So that is going to be a big, tuning-wise, a nice big step. Because also, believe it or not, your idle circuit still provides fuel even after, you're even at wide open throttle. This stuff is still flowing fuel through it. Through the transfer slot, through this, and also this feeds your transfer slot as well. Not just your idle mixture, but your transfer slot as well. Oh, I'm lucky I found this out. Look, that is all the way in the idle mixture. Look at the needle, right? It barely pokes through. In comparison to this one, which, where is it? Not on that side. This one, the primary metering block, it sticks all the way through. I mean, you can even see it, there versus there. Look how much it's sticking out, right? So that's why it's sticking out so far. So I spent a heck of a long time massaging that out so that it would, where is it? Right there. It would stick all the way through. Hard to see, but man, this thing's just kicking my butt today. Originally, I wanted to take the power valve and actually drill out the power valve to put adjustable put adjustable jets in it, because I have some that I just have to drill out the holes, thread them so that I can put those in there. Which we still might do, not yet. I gotta get this thing blown back together and back on the car and actually tune it somewhat before tomorrow. But that was the original plan until I noticed that, and I'm like, oh, well, no wonder, right? So that's definitely, it's definitely something we should be doing. So that's, those. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to change up our setup on the actual engine just a little bit. Starting off, we're changing our gaskets. This one's pretty wimpsy and flimsy and whatever. I took the impression, as you can see, that's the actual gasketing surface. That part's not being compressed. This part's not being compressed. This was overhanging in the engine by the nitrous plate. The nitrous plate opening is a lot larger than a standard 4150 opening. So I took this, I cut it out, and then I used this as the template for a nice new gasket. A nice, substantially thicker, nicer, fresher gasket. so that hopefully we don't have any vacuum leaks. I'm pretty sure we did have, because when I was taking the carburetor off, the passenger side rear corner screw, it was loose. So obviously that was a vacuum leak there. But that's not the only thing. We're not just swapping out gaskets. We're actually changing the configuration. Let me take this out there to show you what we're doing. Originally, this is our setup. We have our tapered spacer, followed by our nitrous plate, followed by the tapered spacer, tapering the actual transition from the nitrous plate to the intake manifold. What we're going to do, notice how our gasket match here. It's not perfect, but it's good enough, because you know the actual holes to the carburetor is just right here. It's not all the way over here. The only reason I didn't want to overhang is just because at this point, right? It truly probably didn't matter in this circumstance. Any hoozle. We're going to remove our tapered spacer. Now why? The main reason is because this engine has the stock cylinder heads, don't flow very well. Higher RPM is not its strong suit. It will rev to 6,000. It will rev past 6,000, but it doesn't make any power up there, right? I've been playing around, and I do believe our shift points on this thing are going to be 5,500 to 5,000, then either 5,000 or 4,500 for second to third. We're not going to rev this thing out too much because it just doesn't make the power up there. And having all these spacers, right? Having the carburetor up so high, that is increasing, its power band. It's essentially making our power band, we're taking from down low and adding up top. And the carburetor itself is slightly oversized for this engine. I mean, it just is. This engine, really, the 600, or not, the 650, if I had a 650 double pumper, it would probably be good for this engine. The whole reason we built that carburetor is for the next engine that's coming in here. But we threw it on here just to see what it would do. And we did the base plate conversion to see how that would affect it. Throttle response and all that. Throttle response on it's great. I mean, the small opening up top Venturi with the big butterflies down below, throttle response is really good. But you can tell the carburetor is slightly too big. The carburetor is a little too big for our application, meaning the fact that we're only revving the engine out to 5,500 with, bad iron heads, and the fact that our stall converter is only 2,200 and it kind of barely flashes to 3,000, the carburetor does not meter it. It can't, there's not enough velocity through the boosters at such low RPMs and at such low volumetric efficiency that those cylinder heads are providing. It just doesn't work for our application that well. If we were spinning 6,500, 7,000, it would work really good up there. If down low we had a converter that flashed up to 3,500, 4,000 RPM off the hit, that way we have some airflow moving through that carburetor, the boosters, to draw stuff out, it would work. For our application and the way the car is set up right now, the size of the carburetor just isn't working out the best. And that's because we built it not for that engine. We built it for an engine that is going to make way more power and flow a lot more air. So to help alleviate some of that, because that's the carburetor we're sticking with for No Name, right? We're not, that's the one, right? To try and help it a little bit, we're going to take away this 1-inch spacer. We're going to lower the carburetor down. We're going to reduce the plenum area in the hopes that actual, the pull on the boosters is just a little bit better. And, we'll see. It's all trial and error at this point, right? If it doesn't run as good without the spacer, we'll put it back on. doesn't really matter. We're bringing it with us, so that part doesn't really matter too much. But that's the way we're going to set it up for now. We're going to test it, see if it works out a little bit better, a little bit worse. We're going to find out. Be told, we still have a 1-inch spacer in total on here between the 1/2-inch nitrous plate and the 1/2-inch tapered one, that the transitional spacer, let's call it, going from the big opening of the nitrous plate to the smaller opening of the actual intake plenum. We're going to keep those on there simply because, well, you know what, it's all wired up and it's on there. We're not taking off the nitrous plate, right? That's we are going to use nitrous, just not at No Name, because we don't, have the regulated, fire suit, whatever for it. Okay, so we're going to use it, just not at this event, but we're keeping it on there. So we'll have a 1-inch spacer, which is probably plenty for this whole application. To be honest, having less spacer sandwich will probably help with our sealing too. This was loose. I just put the studs in. We just had screws because it was too tall for the studs. Now we have studs, so we'll be able to actually sandwich her down a lot nicer too. Okay, that's pretty much all I'm doing for now. Maybe, potentially, I don't know. We're gonna find out. Maybe I should throw the 2-inch, but maybe we should have a 4-inch spacer on there and see what happens. No. I gotta go to the store, get some more carb cleaner, the one with the tube. I'm missing my tube, my little spray nozzle tube to get down inside the orifices. So I'll get another one of those. Finish drilling out the other set. Yes? Finish drilling out the other side. Slap it all back together after it's cleaned up. Throw it on the car. Start it up. Take it for a spin around the block. Then pretty much directly on the trailer, and we're heading to No Name. So we'll see you there. And like I said, that's we are so underprepared for this. But it'll be fun. Oh, and I don't think that's gonna happen for No Name. I could be wrong, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I would love for it to happen, I really would, but I don't know if it's going to.